Buckle up, because we are diving deep, and I mean deep, into the mind of Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, way more than your typical interview, you know?
This is like raw, unfiltered Zuck.
We're talking about a recent interview he did on the Acquired podcast
Recorded live, by the way.
at the Chase Center. So you know it's going to be good.
Live audience, totally unscripted. He just let loose.
And he came out swinging right out of the gate with this statement. Meta, not a social media company,
Well,
a technology company focused on human connection, emphasis on asterisk technology asterisk.
which is huge EE, right? I mean, that really reframes how you see the whole thing.
Totally. It's like he's playing 3D chess while everyone else is stuck on checkers. Zuckerberg is thinking about the future of how we connect as humans, not just building the next viral app.
And what's interesting is he kind of admitted that building a company, like a whole empire, wasn't really the plan at first with Facebook.
Like, yeah, he called it a great project back then, but
But ambitions change.
for sure. And thankfully for Zuck, they tend to get bigger. So you see that evolution, right? Facebook, this kind of scrappy upstart, turns into this behemoth, and it leads him to this much grander vision for Meta.
Right. It's not just about the platform. It's about the foundation.
Exactly. They're laser focused on the core technologies, hardware, software, the whole nine yards.
He even used this analogy of a turn-based strategy game to describe how they operate at Meta.
Which is so fitting when you think about it.
It's like, make your move, learn from it, adapt, and they come back even stronger.
And they're not afraid to make big moves, experiment, put things out there before they're perfect.
Which, to be fair, not everyone loves, right?
Sure, but that's how you learn, right? Fail fast, fail forward, all that jazz. That's how they adapt and innovate so quickly.
It's actually pretty impressive when you think about those early days of Facebook and how they tackled the massive technical challenges of scaling up, like exponentially.
For sure.
Remember MySpace? Friendster. They couldn't handle it. They crumbled under the weight of it all.
Those are the OG social networks, man, and they just couldn't hack it.
But Zuckerberg, he saw that to win in the social space, you had to become a tech powerhouse first. Like, the tech had to be the foundation.
100%. And it's easy to forget how complex that stuff is. We're talking about connecting billions of people in real time, personalizing their experience. Like, that's not easy.
It's mind-boggling, really. And you know what else is interesting? This whole idea that just because you slap a tech label on yourself doesn't make you a tech company.
Oh, yeah, he went there.
He made a really interesting point about other companies claiming to be tech-focused, but then you look closer.
All smoke and mirrors, right.
The CEO doesn't get the tech. The board has zero technical experience. Maybe there's like, one engineer in a leadership position. Zuckerberg's like, come on, guys, that's not a tech company. That's a company with a tech product. Big difference.
It's like he's saying that true innovation, true disruption, comes from having that engineering mindset baked into the DNA of the company from top to bottom.
It's got to be more than just a marketing ploy, right? It's got to be in the soul of the thing.
Exactly. And you can see how that plays out in their whole philosophy of moving fast and iterating. Zuckerberg empowers those engineers, lets them build, ship, learn, and repeat.
It's organized chaos, maybe, but it works for them.
It's definitely not your grandma's company structure, that's for sure. But hey, it's gotten them this far. Okay, now let's talk about something that seems kind of counterintuitive. Meta and open source technology.
Because at first glance, it doesn't seem like it would make sense, right?
Not at all. But this is where Zuckerberg's long game really shines through. And it goes back to those data centers they were building. So they're building these massive data centers, right? Crucial for Facebook's growth.
Essential, really.
But they had a tiny problem.
Tiny.
Okay, maybe not so tiny.
Yeah, it was Google.
Exactly. Google was light years ahead in data center tech back then, and they kept their designs like Fort Knox.
Top secret. Totally locked down.
And it made sense for them, right? I mean, that stuff was their secret sauce. But Zuckerberg, he realized that playing by Google's rules meant, well,
Playing catch-up. Forever.
Yeah, so what do? They go open source.
Which seems insane, sharing your secrets with the world, including your biggest rivals.
Totally counterintuitive. But Zuckerberg was playing a different game.
Not just different, he was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers.
Right. He wasn't trying to beat Google at their own game. He wanted to change the entire game.
So they launched this thing called the Open Compute Project, and they basically give away the keys to the kingdom.
All their hard work, their innovations, all shared freely.
And you know what? It worked. Meta saved a fortune because they didn't have to keep reinventing the wheel every time they built a new data center.
Not just that, the quality of their infrastructure skyrocketed because they had the best minds in the world contributing to the Open Compute project. Like, everyone wins in that scenario.
It's a powerful example of collaboration over competition, which kind of makes you wonder,
Makes you think, right?
what's your Open Compute project? What's that thing you could share, even with a competitor, that would benefit everyone in the long run?
It's a good question to ask yourself no matter what you do for a living.
Now, let's get real for a second. Zuckerberg hasn't been shy about addressing the elephant in the room, the whole 2016 election debacle.
Yeah, that whole mess. And he owns up to it big time.
He admits they made a major miscalculation back then, and you can tell it still weighs on him.
Yeah, there's definitely some regret there.
He talked about how Facebook, or Meta now I guess, was too quick to take the blame for societal problems, mistaking a political crisis for something they could fix with algorithms and stuff.
It's like they tried to be everything to everyone and it kind of blew up in their face.
Big time. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said, the political miscalculation was a 20-year mistake, and it's going to take another 10 years to fully work through.
Wow. Yeah, 20 years.
I mean, that's a lifetime in the tech world.
Shows you the scale of the problem they were dealing with and how deeply it affected him, honestly.
You can tell he's learned a lot from that whole experience, though.
It's a good reminder that even the people at the top, the Zuckerbergs of the world, they make mistakes too.
Sometimes really, really big ones.
But it's what you do afterward that matters, right?
Totally. You own it, you learn from it, and you move forward.
And hopefully you don't make the same mistake twice.
Speaking of moving forward, there's been this noticeable shift in Zuckerberg's thinking lately. He keeps talking about building things that are not just good, but awesome.
Oh yeah, that really stood out to me too, this idea of awesome.
It's like he wants to inspire people to create things that uplift humanity and push the boundaries of what's possible.
It's a high bar, that's for sure.
He's not just talking about connecting people online anymore. He wants to build things that tap into our deepest desires, our creativity, our sense of wonder.
You can really see this driving some of their bigger bets, like their work with Reality Labs and the Metaverse.
Which, to be fair, hasn't exactly set the world on fire yet.
Yeah, not financially anyway, but like we said earlier, Zuckerberg's playing the long game here. He's willing to take the risks, to invest heavily in things he believes in, even if the payoff isn't immediately obvious.
Like their investments in AI, which is something else he talked about a lot in this interview.
Artificial intelligence, yeah, he's all in on that.
He admitted it's still early days. We haven't seen anything close to the full potential of AI yet.
Still figuring it out, basically.
But he's convinced it will be as big as the internet, if not bigger.
And he wants Meta to be leading the charge, which, knowing Zuck...
It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. It's like he's saying, why bother with just good when you can shoot for the moon, right? But it makes you wonder, what's driving this shift in Zuckerberg, like on a personal level?
He did touch on that a bit.
What's motivating him these days?
It sounds like he's looking for something more, you know. He talked about wanting to work on projects that inspire him, with people who inspire him.
But it's not just about the tech itself anymore.
Right, it's about the why, the bigger purpose behind it all.
He mentioned working with, like, top fashion designers and stuff.
Yeah, even sculptors, like world-renowned artists.
Which is kind of wild when you think about it.
And get this, he's raising cattle on his ranch now.
Cattle. Like, seriously.
Dead serious. And not just any cattle, we're talking prize-winning stock.
Okay, that's kind of amazing, actually.
Right. It seems like this guy's got his fingers in everything.
From coding in his dorm room to hanging out with fashion icons and raising champion cows.
It definitely makes you rethink what success looks like.
Right. It's not always a straight line, and it's definitely not one size fits all.
It's about finding what makes you tick, what gets you excited to get out of bed in the morning.
I love that. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the mind of Zuck, let's bring it back to our listeners.
What can we all take away from all of this?
Right, because this isn't just about Mark Zuckerberg. It's about all of us who are trying to build something, create something, make our mark on the world.
Totally. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is find your passion and chase it with everything you've got.
Whether it's technology, art, cattle ranching, whatever.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. Remember all those miscalculations Zuckerberg talked about? Those were just learning opportunities in disguise.
They forced him to grow, to adapt, to become a better leader. And that's something we can all relate to, right?
100%. And finally, think big. Don't be afraid to swing for the fences, even if it seems crazy or risky.
Like Zuckerberg with the Metaverse, for better or worse.
Okay, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Truer words have never been spoken. Remember that story Zuckerberg told about his daughter wanting to be like Taylor Swift?
Oh yeah, and how he told her to find her own asterisk path.
He told her, don't try to be the asterisk next asterisk someone else. Inspire people to want to be like asterisk you, asterisk build.
Such great advice.
It really is. And on that note, here's a final thought for you to ponder. What awesome thing will asterisk you, asterisk build? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.